How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have some really important news that's come out over the last couple hours here, and I also have a couple things that I think are very important that we need to talk about. Two things. One is inspired by someone that emailed me, and I just think it's so important to get this right. It's imperative. You need to know this, especially if you're someone that's maybe not great with technology, or if you're helping other people buy Bitcoin. Just know this. And also, I have something that just kind of hit me that I think is really key as well for this bull run. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos like this. If you want to trade crypto, there's a link to Margex underneath the video. I talk about it in a lot of videos because if you use leverage right, you can make a lot of money. I talked about it in the last video, how much I've been able to make just from simple positions. And with Margex, you can use different forms of collateral. Of course, whenever you use a trading platform, there's always some inherent risk. So make sure you're comfortable with that risk. They're doing an airdrop right now. There's also a link to CoinW underneath the video. They're doing an airdrop. There's also a link to WEEX. They're also doing an airdrop just for our community. So if you sign up with any of those platforms with the links underneath the video and you hit the join now button, you'll start trading and getting access to some free tokens. There's also a link to Blowfin. There are like 6 different links down there. So yeah, just check those out. Also, there's a link to Bitcoin Nashville underneath the video. In case you want a ticket, you can use the code that I have listed under there and get some discount. Now, let's start here, and then I'll get kind of to the point where I've just been thinking about Bitcoin in a couple different ways I think are really important. But first, thread tracking US Bitcoin ETF flows from today. Okay, this was a massive volume day. IBIT had 1.75 billion, nearly 2 billion in volume. That's nuts. FBTC with 600 million. GBTC had a positive day right there. We knew basically it's gonna be a positive day in the market. So it had 20 million. EasyBC had 4 million. Bitwise had 44.6 million and 68 million this week. I like Hunter Horsley. I think he's the CEO. Yeah, he's the CEO, and he's very vocal about what their ETFs have done and his thoughts. HODL with a 42 million. BlackRock with 115 million inflow. And then FBTC with 141 million. This is a big day. This is over a third of $1 billion. Okay, this is crazy. I mean, let's look at some of the last ones. I had a tweet pulled up at some point. Let's see if I actually have it saved. Maybe I don't have it saved. We had 50 million yesterday, maybe 70 million the day before that, 300 million, then 400 million. We had over $1 billion this week. $1 billion flowing into Bitcoin ETFs. It just continues. This is after a massive week last week. So we're at nearly 2.5 billion in 2 weeks. I think it's sitting around 2.3, 2.4 billion in 2 weeks coming into these ETFs. This is after Germany dumped their Bitcoin. This is a massive change from what we've seen in the past. And it seems like some of this is just net buying, not any kind of carry trade, trying to get fancy by the hedge funds. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. It's just a lot of buying. And honestly, this buying that's happening right now, we won't know who's buying right now for another 110 days, something like that. Because in about 30 days, we're going to have all the papers required, all the documentation required to know who bought in the second quarter. All the hedge funds will have to put that information in. But keep in mind, we're in the third quarter now, right? So we're in the third quarter. We're not going to know who's buying now until about not October 15, until November 15, if I'm doing my math right. So the fact is, we're going to have to wait a while to see who's adding such large positions here. But we're going to see earnings next week from some companies. We're going to see Bitcoin Nashville. There's a lot of stuff happening next week. And I mean, even this week, people are expecting Biden to drop out of the race over the weekend. So it's kind of a crazy time. That's really what I wanted to hit on that's news specific. 2 things, though, that I've been thinking about. Let's start with the one that's applicable to everyone. I make videos talking about like why you need 0.21 Bitcoin, why you need 0.1 Bitcoin, why you can retire on 2 Bitcoin one day, that kind of stuff. And those videos are really fun for me to make. I've always been someone that just genuinely likes spreadsheets. It's weird. I don't know what it is. Like, I just love running through numbers, thinking about how profitable different businesses would be. And It's fun to think about where Bitcoin's going. It's fun to think about, okay, if Bitcoin hits, 200,000 this cycle, 0.21 Bitcoin is $40,000. Maybe if you sell it around a decent time, you might be able to buy like half a Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will probably fall to $50,000 to $80,000, right, during the bear market if we have one. Just those are the fun things I like doing in those videos. But I thought of a new way to consider this bull run. We like to get to psychological goals like 0.1 Bitcoin or a quarter of a Bitcoin. A quarter of a Bitcoin is interesting too, because only the top 1% of people can ever have a quarter of a Bitcoin. That's if everything is distributed. All the Bitcoin is distributed evenly, and it's not. I talked about that recently, but the top 1% of people, about 80 million people, can have about one quarter of a Bitcoin, because that's about 20 million Bitcoin. But the fact is there's a lot of Bitcoin lost. There's a lot of people that hold thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. So the fact is there's not that much Bitcoin to go around. But my point is, I like thinking about those numbers. We like to think about them just as humans. I think we like to hit specific goals: 1 Bitcoin, 5 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin. Another way of thinking about it, maybe if some of those goals are far away for you, maybe consider what you could invest in if you take some profits. Now, maybe you're someone that never wants to sell Bitcoin. Maybe you want to think about this with an altcoin. Okay, let's just continue to talk about Bitcoin just for the sake of it, though. Let's say you had a quarter of a Bitcoin. No, let's say a half a Bitcoin, okay? You have half a Bitcoin. Let's say you want to sell half of your Bitcoin when you think it's towards the top of the market. Maybe you dollar cost average out. Maybe you sell it all at one point. But let's say you sell around $120,000 Bitcoin. Okay, then you keep half of it, but you sell half of it. So you're selling a quarter of a Bitcoin at $120,000. Maybe that $30,000 that you sell allows you to put a 10% or 5% down payment on some multifamily home that you can move into. You can move into it, and then eventually you can move out of it. You can get a new mortgage on a house that you really want, but you still have the multifamily home. It's interesting to start thinking about, like, okay, what if we take some of these gains, and instead of like making some arbitrary amount of money, instead of making some arbitrary or getting some arbitrary amount of crypto, like what assets can you buy that could like be a foundational asset for your retirement? Maybe you can go buy a fourplex. Maybe you can put a 20% down payment. Maybe you can buy a full duplex. Maybe you can buy a 10plex. I don't know. It depends on your portfolio. But I've been talking to a couple of people that want to do that. That's something that I want to do, right? But it's just something that we don't think about. Like, you can make fundamentally life-changing money. Take some profits and invest in something that can give you consistent cash flow. And that's something that's really interesting to me. I don't know if you've seen this. Let me know if you are someone that looks at the housing market regularly. If you're someone that invests in multifamily, I've noticed around me there are more deals that have been coming up that make really good sense. Like, the numbers work out to cash flow well. There's more deals in the last 6 months than I've seen in 5 years. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know in the comment section, but it's really fascinating. The other thing that I want to hit on is I had an email today from someone that wanted to meet up basically and have me help them with cold storage. To be clear, I don't do that. I can't help people for liability reasons. Also, it just doesn't really work like that. Like, I can't just go make time for someone that I don't know. I have a lot of personal things I have to do, and family, friends, that kind of stuff. So that's why I make YouTube videos, so that I can help the most amount of people as possible at one time. But what I found fascinating was, if you're someone that's a little bit older, or maybe you're just not good with technology, right? This person wanted to self-custody, which is great, right? It's one of the things that people love about Bitcoin. For a lot of people, though, even people that are good with technology, you run into issues. I talked to someone else this week that they had Bitcoin on a wallet. They tried to set up a new wallet and back it up with the seed phrase that they had the Bitcoin on the other wallet with. And it just didn't work. There's something there's friction. And that kind of stuff can cause stress. Even if you're good with technology, it causes stress. I've been super stressed out about different things over my 4 years in crypto, whatever it is. And it's stressful. if you're someone that's not good with technology, I just want to put this out there. This is something that I've helped my family with too. People that aren't good with technology, like, and even if you are good with technology, I think it makes sense to diversify in this way. Maybe holding native Bitcoin isn't for everyone. Oof, I said it. Ooh, don't berate me too bad in the comment section. But native Bitcoin is great if you're someone that can handle self-custody. Or if you trust the exchanges, which I wouldn't trust exchanges if you have Bitcoin that you have to keep on an exchange, though. Like Coinbase is probably the safest exchange for the long term. If you don't really want to trade, if you just want to put it there. But to be clear, if you're someone that wants Bitcoin, but you want it for an investment, you don't ever plan on really doing anything with self-custody. You're not like someone that thinks that the world's going to end or that you're going to ever have to tap into this. Maybe you just want to put it on an exchange or buy it through a brokerage. Like buy these Bitcoin ETFs that we talk about day after day. Like you can go into your Fidelity account or your Schwab account or your Robinhood account, and you can buy these. Yes, you pay a small fee each year, but you don't have to ever touch the hardware, right? You can just go hit buy. You literally load money into the account from your bank. Just connect your bank, load money in, hit buy. It's really simple. If you're someone that's never actually bought yourself, if you've just always invested through a 401k, you can do it. You can definitely do it. But I think that's a good solution actually for a lot of people. You don't have to custody. Of course, there's always some counterparty risk. There's always some risk when someone else buys and holds your Bitcoin. But I'd argue for a lot of people, having BlackRock do it or Fidelity do it, I think it's a lot safer than having people do it themselves. Now, who knows? Maybe one of these ETFs all of a sudden tells us one day, oh, shoot, we sent all our Bitcoin to the wrong place. We were trying to switch wallets. I don't know why they do that, but and we have no insurance for it. Maybe that could be something that possibly happens, like especially with one of the smaller ETFs. I think it would be such a bad look for BlackRock or Fidelity, and they have the cash right now that they could make it right. So I would put it probably in one of the bigger ETFs, but you can just buy one of those and not have to deal with the headaches. It's much safer. It's easier to account for because they take your profit and loss. They send you statements. Eventually, you'll be able to take loans against it. Might be able to offer it to be, how do they phrase it? Basically for hedge funds to short it. So you could allow people to do that and you get a little bit of interest. Like it's minuscule, but you could do that. There are different ways that you could get yield on it one day. And it's just easier if it's in the system like that, I think. But you could take loans against it. And most of all, you don't have the issue of trying to send crypto, to store crypto, to secure your crypto, to make sure the seed phrases are never touched and all that. So it's just something that I think a lot of people should consider. I know it's kind of against, like some people think it's against the whole point of Bitcoin. I don't think so. It depends what you're looking for. Do you want Bitcoin because you're really going to use it? Or do you want Bitcoin because you think it's going to perform well? Right? It's a totally different thing. Like, do you actually want the self-custody? Are you going to use that? Are you going to actually send it to anyone ever in your life? Or are you just going to buy it on Coinbase, self-custody, send it back to Coinbase, sell it? In that case, you might as well just put in an ETF, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on all this, though, underneath the video. Let me know if you think that I'm speaking, horribly about what people should be doing, and they should never put it in a Bitcoin ETF. Let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think about BlackRock and Fidelity just with these massive buys. Like, who is buying this? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'm really excited for Bitcoin Nashville. If you don't have a ticket and you're going to go, get the ticket right now because it's only going to get more expensive. Maybe they'll even sell out. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next video.